do it.
Here it comes.
Bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Welcome to Everyone Racers.
It's a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ
Or lucky track dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
Tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot,
hella sweet,
Or we're lucky enough,
and Chrissy,
and Chrissy,
I give you just the tip.
we're sure you'll giggle a little.
and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
Yeah, sorry,
This
mental
is-
slow on the buttons. Here.
Oh, crap. This is Chrissy. Sorry. Hi.
This is Timber!
And I'm mental. And we are Everyone Racers. This is a Chrysler Wedge engine episode. Welcome to episode 361. The Chrysler B engines are a series of big block V8 gasoline engines first introduced in 1958 to replace the Chrysler Firepower, aka first generation Hemis engines. The B and RB engines are often referred to as wedge engines because they use a wedge-shaped combustion chambers. The 361 cubic inch in B engine was also introduced in 1958, was essentially the same as the 350, except a larger 4 1/8 inch, or 105 millimeters if you've never landed on the moon, for an actual displacement of 360.83 cubic inches. This was installed in a variety of cars and trucks, from the Chrysler Newport, the Dodge D-Series, the Jensen CV8, and Food Machinery Corp M113 armored personnel carrier in waterproof form.
It's such a slow news day.
I
hold on.
disagree. This is history.
I'm sorry. I need to get the button that goes do-do-do-do.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Because this is like actually appropriate. Now you know. Do-do-do-do. It sounds just like that.
So good.
It is pretty awesome
Amazing that
yeah.
I can replicate it.
I was watching The Daily Show a couple of weeks ago, and he said something like that, and he just does like the star wipe and mouths the words. Copycat, that Jon Stewart.
I mean, it's not original to me. So
Oh, so as we
hey, what you
often,
working on?
there we go. I am moving farther into Project Purge. I am now down one 1976 Oldsmobile Omega. It has moved on to a much, much happier place. Team Metal Jacket, the team that owns the not quite 150 mile an hour Bonneville, is now took possession of that car. That's more on that later on as we talk about our weekend at the Butt, which I was judging, and things that could only happen to Mental involving my U-Haul trailer return. And as my co-hosts look at me, what? Mental had an issue returning a rented U-Haul car hauler? Yes, I did. So Sunday, I go to return the U-Haul car hauler that I had towed to Buttonwillow, and I call the Buttonwillow grocery and liquor store located in the town of Buttonwillow, and because it tells me on my return instructions, call this when you enter the town of Buttonwillow, and I called them, and a person whose English is not their first language, non-Hispanic, goes, no, not today. No, dude, I've got a sheet of paper that says I return it today. Not today, boss. No, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Click. Call back. No answer. Cue immediate impotent rage, and then realize, just simmer the hell down. So I call, I get on U-Haul's app, and I'm like, hey, where else can I return this thing? And they immediately find me a place in Shafter, California, conveniently on my way out of town. As I'm driving through, it's also a moving and storage place.
Sounds a little better than the grocery store and liquor store where they say, they don't
Yeah.
really. I already felt like when you started there, I'm like, this is
Yeah.
this is not going to be the place you drop this.
So I as I'm driving by, I'm using way, and I realize, oh crap, there's my turn right there. It's a 4-lane road. And I go to make the turn. Now the road is crowned, and then there's a gully to get the water out of there, and then I have to go up into this place. And as I go to make the turn, I am carrying enough momentum to wedge the trailer into pavement. And as I started to go into the place, effectively lifting my rear wheels off the ground. So now I am blocking 3 lanes. It is 7:30 on a Sunday night, and I can't go forwards or backwards because all it does is my tires just sit there and spin in the concrete drainage area.
Oh my God.
So
Like, I'll take stuff that only happens to mental for $100.
Where is our bingo card when we need it?
so I walk.
Instead of general, we don't have General Wakeman problems anymore. We have general mental problems now.
Oh, I feel like this is an exceptional mental problem. So I have to walk like a mile down to O'Reilly's, come back with a, I needed an aluminum
And you're
floor
blocking
jack
traffic.
anyway.
You've left your truck, and you're now
Hazard flashers on as the sun is setting.
you're
It's not
out.
a busy road. So I've
Okay.
It's
I'm
in an
picturing like
industrial
4-lane
area.
highway.
It's Shafter. No, it's Shafter. It's 20 minutes away from the track. There's 8 people that live there.
And I'm sure several people drive, because I got the hairy eyeball from like 4 people drive. What the, you idiot, And I have to go buy a floor jack to jack like right under the hitch and everything, enough to get the trailer that uses, to get the tongue off there dug out of the asphalt. And then I can back up, not destroying the jack in the process, but I'll be replacing the wheels on my new aluminum floor jack. But I got it unstuck after about, I think it was supposed to be like a 10-minute ordeal. Took me about an hour and 15 minutes, and I got it all put away. So mad props to U-Haul. Actually, they take a lot of hits on their customer service, but they were on for that one. So that was my Sunday. And then
Photos of this?
Huh?
Are there
Oh,
photos?
yeah,
of
photos. Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah.
Crap.
I
what?
need
And you
to
didn't put
see
it to
this.
Slack
Oh,
or at least the
I forgot to take pictures of this fail
Oh,
that I
come
had.
on.
I forgot.
Damn it, you know what? Yeah, I was so busy trying to solve the problem.
You didn't
I
take
did
any
not-
pictures?
I did not. I took pictures of the trailer after I dropped it off
Maybe.
to prove the U-Haul that I dropped it off. But
Oh
I think in
my
one of them,
gosh.
one of them might. If you live in Shafter, California, you can see the damage I did to your road.
Picturing is this truck wedged across the lanes of highway and he's
Oh, yeah.
just walking away. Like,
Yeah,
are you coming back?
yeah.
I mean, they don't know that.
It's on fire. It's exploding.
Run
I
the
just
sign!
look like a tough guy from an 80s movie. Yeah.
Except you have much
Amazing.
further to go home. Oh gosh. Okay. That's good. Good
Chris
story.
seems like he had a much more productive week, less destructive.
No. I mean, I was at the Cape until Saturday and then drove home from the Cape Saturday. Like, I did some stuff at the Cape. I cleaned the gutters. I reattached a lot of the deck railing vertical elements there that had come loose on the one end. So just, fortunately, air nailer with 16 gauge stainless steel nails makes quick work of doing a whole bunch of those. What do people do before pneumatic nailers? I have no idea. Clean
Lot of
sheds, clean other things around the house. I had to
right.
fix a hole in the soffit that an animal had chewed, so I covered that up. It's not the prettiest, but it's effective. The NSX had a dead battery. I went to start it. Turned out it was just corroded connectors caused issues. So now it's all back in good shape. And I'm getting the old Lotus project ready to sell. I had to remove it from the wall, remove the things that were on it as a shelf, which is mostly tarps. I have to find a new place to put my tarps. And
maybe you should get a
got it
real
off the wall.
shelving
Got it
unit.
up. I know. Got it on
Well,
the
you're gonna have
ground
to
and
now.
Put wheels on it and got pictures of stuff and some measurements and Yeah, just posted that up for sale on the GRM forum tonight, which is where I bought it. So I'm going to try to sell it back to that group of like-minded idiots first.
So if you've ever had to remove your Lotus project from the wall, you're probably listening to the right podcast.
Yep.
We put it up there. What did you say?
2013.
13. Yeah. So it's been on the wall for 11 years. Okay. Still exactly in the condition it was when we bought it 13 years ago.
Exactly. Yep.
11 years ago.
Is it like a fine aged wine? Is it worth more now, or are you losing money on that deal?
No, the Miata parts are definitely worth more because 11 years ago, finding a 1.8 low miles 1.8 Miata engine, not that big a deal. Now a 52,000 mile 1.8 is like, oh yeah, I see. I would like that. Thank you. So
right, garage kept. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Nice condition. So I tried to do all the house stuff while Chris was doing other house stuff, and we have a race coming up. So I'm doing some race prep, trying to get myself organized, get the potluck organized, all that good stuff. So just preparing for the race. Haven't done any actual stuff organization, just more theory, people organization.
Before we get too far, so I didn't take pictures of the actual stuff, but here, if I can, there we go. This is the map of Shafter, California, and you can see the 4 lanes that I effectively blocked right, here on Walker Street. As I went to make the left into the storage place right there. So that was the street that I had 75% block right there by California Avenue.
Next time Google
that's
has
not
that
nearly
image
as effective
updated,
as
you'll see the gouge.
All right.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah.
Okay, Timo, what's going on?
More on this, but I dropped off an Ecotech and an AR5 transmission, an entire wire harness for a Solstice, a fly-by-wire pedal to Driven Garage, owned by Jeff Gates, and that is going to be an upgrade to the Chevy Love that made its second race as Sorry for Party car. So that is, I had to get all of the crap out of my truck and threw it in the garage so I could load that stuff into it first thing on Monday. Because I can't get a better engine in that truck fast enough. So we'll talk more about that later.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then it's just, the typical cleaning up the smoker and like defrosting the fridge and the Blackstone and washing all the things. And so getting all that tidied up and getting the sawdust off of everything from the theme. And then today I got up at 3:30 in the morning and drove to San Francisco Airport and flew to Boston, and I'm back in Maine because my contractor is supposed to start work on my new shop build this week. And I've had a hard time getting in touch with him until today, and he's now told me that that's not going to happen. So he's actually trying to get a subcontractor to subcontract out the framing, and because they're not going to be able to get to it till November. So for a project that was supposed to be done in May, here we are. It's leaf peep season, and we have no structure built yet. So
and I'm not mocking your contractor, but I think anyone that's had worked on their house is just kind of going, yeah, that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with commercial though, or industrial, whatever you can. I mean, like I that's what I deal with pretty much all day is deal with contractors that are coming in to do our stuff, and we're calling them all the time, and I'm like, I want to give you large sums of money. Here is the money. Just give me a quote, and even that I can't get. It's so different. And these are not like I'm just calling out of the, like, we've worked with these people forever. So I get it. It's good. It's a tough market. I don't know how to fix it either.
Yeah.
A lot of it's labor, right? They can't get people to work, and everything's so expensive. And you throw in, the shortages of materials and everything else, and it's a real pain in the butt. So
yeah. This week on Everyone's Economy, I did read a couple of months ago that 2020, just when everything got put on lockdown, a lot of those small scale handyman types just went and learned to do something else because they were just so tired of the volatility. And that's resulted in a loss of people to hire to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, right. Yeah. So now you're out there, and then you are gonna do what? Hang out?
I was gonna cancel a trip.
It's gonna go pick up a load of 2x4s and start swinging a hammer.
Maybe
because Timbers wood
can do anything.
Is there anything it can't do?
So I was actually gonna cancel the trip, but the saga of how can Tim and Amy stay in the same zip code for more than 12 minutes was also played a part. So I left for the race on Thursday. She got home from New York Friday after I left. I got home Sunday night about 9:30, and then I dropped her off at the airport at 11 on Monday to go back to New York City. So she's in New York City now, and she's going to come. The plan was for her to meet me here for the weekend, and then from there she has to go to Amsterdam for a week. So if I canceled my trip here, like, I wouldn't see her for 2 weeks. So I was like, hell with it, I'll just come to Maine. So here I am. I'm gonna get some projects.
And it's not like you're talking like Chris and I, or like Boston and Philly. You're like, oh, okay, it's same coast. Oh, Netherlands, or where?
Yeah, not even same country. Really.
Different countries, right? No, yeah. right. This is craziness.
Yeah. It's insane. Like, our schedule over this 2-month period right now is just pretty remarkably crazy. So you'll see my backdrop change probably every week from now until Thanksgiving. So
I'm interested in the Amsterdam backdrop. That's going to be fantastic. The dancing hookers in the windows or something. Yeah, exactly.
Tim, it's so loud there. What?
I have no idea what's going on right now, man.
The air quality here is amazing.
Okay. Oh wait. Well, I'm sorry. You have one more.
And because I'm here in Boston, we get to play Guess the Rental Car.
Yay!
Okay.
So, give us the basics. This is like the RST LNE of Guess the Rental Car is which rental company.
It's just you.
National.
Okay. Hatch or trunk.
Hatch.
It's just you.
It's just me.
Okay.
Country of
never,
brand origin.
I've never driven this car before either.
Let's say continent of origin. That doesn't give too much away. Yeah.
Okay. Japanese.
No.
Okay. Do you like it?
We'll narrow it down. It does car-like things.
Take that as a no. Okay. All right.
But it's national, which means you got to pick it out. Which
that's correct.
I don't dislike it. I'll say that. I don't dislike it.
You had an idea.
I'm going to hazard a guess, just willing to be wrong. A Toyota Sienna.
You're half right.
Highlander.
I was going to say, well, I don't know. They're not doing RAV4s, but like.
Yeah, RAV4.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could get a RAV4. Yep. Okay.
Toyota RAV4. Okay. I was like, I've never driven one of these. I'm going to try it. So I got it in. I put it in eco hamster mode, and off I went down the road.
The best-selling non-pickup truck in the country, that thing.
Yeah. It does car-like things. Like, if I didn't care about enjoying the car experience and like making power or noises, or like I just wanted to get from A to B in a comfortable world and everything just does the things that you expect them to do, thumbs up.
Phone hooks up to it.
It does that.
Okay.
It's just no passion.
Uninspired. Interesting.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. It's news and news time! Laguna Seca is not going anywhere. George Tamayo at Racer Magazine has the details of the new track management. Local business owners Ross Merrill, Bruce Cabana, and Jonathan Faber formed Friends of Laguna Seca to manage the facility as an all-volunteer nonprofit effort. The avid historic racer Ross said, "We pledge to invest the facility, update the business model, and do it all on our own dime and relieve the county of its burden." Laguna Seca is actually one of the 3 racetracks in North America that's owned by a local municipality. The issues became how decisions are made and everything running through a dizzying morass of committees and offices. This agreement eliminates all of that. Bruce said, "Our concession agreement contains 3 significant points. First, we have the authority to run the facility as we see fit without county oversight. Second, we have a 50-year agreement, which is unlike any previous agreements. And third, it locks a facility into being a racetrack, so there's no chance it would be anything else." Have you had a chance to drive this bit of history yet? Because you'll want to. You can go to WeatherTechRaceway.com for updates on their upcoming events. And their 2025 schedule apparently is out.
Woot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Woot.
So way back in 2021. Way back in 21, the US DOT and NHTSA finally worked out the details of the replica car bill, allowing low-volume builders to sell street-legal turnkey replica cars in the United States. Just like the import law, the vehicle has to be at least 25 years old, and of course, makers have to license original designs. Well, there is a new manufacturer whose designs haven't changed much in well over 25 years of their own designs. That's right. The 2025 Morgan Plus 4 is coming to America. Nick Berg at Hagerty tells us that in readying the car for the U.S. market, Morgan initiated a range of changes on the outside, but it still looks like it's born in the 50s because it was. Now it's propelled by a 2-liter BMW twin-turbo engine and has an 8-speed automatic transmission. And while that seems sacrilegious, it does get the 0 to 60 time down to under 5 seconds. Now, under the replica rules, Morgan can make 325 cars for the U.S., which would be almost doubling their current production. It's going to cost you just under $75,000 for that price, and you still have to get out of the car to lower and raise the top. But you get a Bluetooth stereo. Okay, you won't be able to hear it with the wind buffeting those have, but no problem.
Are they going to be right-hand drive wood in the?
No, that was just on the article. That was a European one that he had test drove. They have not made any of these yet, but they've had what they call dozens of customers already throw down a down payment.
I just wonder if they still use wood in the body framing, because that Morgan for a long time they used ash wood to hold up a lot of the body framing.
I think they still do. Like at this point, you kind of almost have to.
Wood, what can't it do?
What?
Oh!
More on that to come.
So
you missed
timely.
that. I tried to set you up there, Tim. I really tried.
Even gave you time to answer.
Well, just a short while back, we mentioned Europe's requirement for cars to notify their owners when they're exceeding the speed limit, and California introduced a similar bill requiring cars sold there to do the same. But Eric King at Jalopnik has a story of Governor Gavin Newsom vetoing that measure. Newsom claims he vetoed the Intelligent Speed Assistance System mandate to avoid undermining Washington. The press release said imposing state-level mandates would disrupt ongoing federal assessments on passive speed assessment systems. But a SEMA Commission survey found that 51% of likely 2024 voters strongly opposed speed-limiting devices, with only 12% of voters in strong support. SEMA President and CEO Mike Spagnola said, "It is clear that Californians want to control their cars, not vice versa. That's why we urge California legislators to listen to the voters they represent and shelve this unpopular bill. If SB 961 had been signed into law, it would have required every vehicle built, sold, or leased in California to be equipped with a passive intelligent speed assistance system by the 2030 model year.
That's what everyone in California wants, is anytime you go anywhere on the freeway, your car to sit there and go, eep, 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 eep.
Is that what it would do?
Or, like,
it'd be better. It'd be better if they could like program the cars to stay in the right lane unless passing somebody. How about that, California? Stay right, please.
How do you really feel?
No.
Ed Zachary.
Where's your angry typing? It calls for aggro type.
Dear butt faces in California Senate.
Yes, you in the left lane. I'm talking directly to you.
Reply all to the whole state.
As you have seen, I have copied the entire state into this email.
So, with the buying and selling of Lotuses going on around here, I wanted to see what Lotuses were on Racing Junk. Oh. And here is a 2004 Lotus Elise race car with a Honda K24 swap.
Ooh.
It's originally built for the Lotus Cup Racing Series. In addition to the K24, it has a Quaife gearbox with a Geartronics paddle shift, a Haltech ECU, AIM digital dash, full cage, fire system, swan mount carbon rear wing, easily removable clams with arrow catches. That's the clams are in the front and the back, like the whole thing's open on these cars. Even better, there are 19 pictures because they didn't cheap out.
Yay!
This
any
looks
inside or I didn't see any inside.
Yeah, they're
yet.
there. There's 19. Metzelis hasn't gotten there yet.
Okay, great.
All this
looks
like a whole lot of fun for $29,900
with Honda reliability. Wow.
Right? Oof. It looks like a clean car. It looks well done. That would be fast. Right? That would be fun.
It would be fairly reliable-ish. K24s are usually...
The Honda parts would be reliable. Okay. The Lotus parts, not so much. But...
correct.
Yeah.
Vero Beach, Florida. If you're anywhere close to Florida, want to get in a fast car.
Need a track toy. That seems like a great idea.
That really is.
Anyone that's not Jeremy Clarkson size should be interested in that.
Yep.
I've got tall friends who have gotten into those cars. It's they're fine once they're in. It's the in and out that just you're not doing that in a hurry.
And you only need to do that in case you're on fire. So there's that. Ask Mental how he knows when he tried to get in a small car that he didn't fit in with his helmet on. Pretty sure that was you, wasn't it? You went in front ways.
Oh yeah.
Trying to stuff you into a car and you didn't fit. I swear it was you.
I feel like you're right. I don't, probably blocked it like some sort of painful memory.
I think it was the RX-7. I think you climbed in head first, and then we said, "What are you doing?"
I think you went in like legs first. That didn't work, and then you went in head first.
It was the RX-7. It was absolutely.
And we're like, if we have to play this game, this is not okay.
Because the Halo bar and the Halo seat, like once I was in, and then it was head's not going anywhere. This is all the motion I get. All eyeballs. Yeah.
Yes.
Then we remounted the seat right after that.
Oh
well.
Dumb ways to die.
And there's so many dumb ways to die on Racing Junk. They should totally make that a shirt.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's from last week's show. I put it
I know, but it's a great motto.
But it's worth leaving. Yeah.
I know. Oh, it's upcoming races time. I'm sorry. You were waiting for me, weren't you? I apologize.
Yes.
All right.
I was listening to all the songs.
Champ is at Pitt. They've got 63 cars, 18 BMWs, 15 Miatas.
Which for Champ, that's a third. That's a we'll take what we can get.
Okay. Still a lot.
10 Porsches, 5 Hondas, and a Nissan Altima with matching body panels and a Contour.
I believe on one of the social medias today, there's also going to be a Nissan SER from our buddy who lives in Pittsburgh. It's probably fine.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Great.
Fun. Okay, recent results time.
Lemon's doing the butt stuff. Now, overall, normally no one cares, but that was Perplexus in their Lexus. They had to make a pit stop on the last lap because they were out of gas. He basically coasted in, and they weren't going to be able to finish the race because nipping at their heels was a sorry for Party Miata, an Ecotech Swap Miata. So they came in, dumped 3 gallons, sent it back out, and this kept them just barely 30 seconds ahead. So it actually was a good one. Class B was junk propulsion in a BMW 530 with a great Pirates theme on that one. My buddy Justin with Transmittable Bridesmaids said, something's going on with that car because when we were at Thunderhill, we lapped them. And this whole race, they've been lapping us. And I actually caught the owner and I said, hey, what's going on with the car? And he goes, oh, we learned to drive and stay out of the penalty box. So that's how they did that one. And your Class C winner was Black Flag Enterprises in a 93 Accord, which I've actually already seen a little bit of the internet hate of how did they end up in Class C. It's real simple. They bribed really, really well and raised like $600 for Lemons of Love. So there's that one. But the stuff that everybody actually cares about, heroic fix was 3 off in a racing E30. Literally until the last hour. This was probably going to go to the Bonneville because they had a horrible weekend and all of their cars were just giving them just enough trouble to where you could fix it. And then they go back out and they fix it, go back out. These guys had an LS swapped E30 that they got tired of having an LS swapped E30 and they swapped it with a V6 out of a Malibu, which promptly blew up Saturday and oiled down the track. So they sent half the team 4 hours away to get their spare engine, bring it back. They thrashed all night and got it running about 90 minutes before the checker. So folks who didn't get their car running at all, S&S Blue Racing and a 2006 BMW 750IL. They first brand new team out of Prescott, Arizona. They failed tech. Erica Snow spent like 2 hours getting their cage into spec, and then they pushed it over to their pits because it wouldn't start because BMW things, and they fought with it and fought with it and fought with it, and finally Saturday threw it on the trailer and had it hauled back to Prescott, and then they just hung out all weekend. So, they were good great. Attitude.
I spent about 20 minutes chatting with those guys and tried to put them in touch with Renee and a couple other people, and I was like, there's a reason why there is an exemption. If you bring if you bring a V8 car, it's a Class C car. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you'll see.
BMW V8s. It was funny because I started talking to him, and same thing. I'm like, hey, here, and I had one of our business cards, and he goes, oh, we listen, we know that show, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. You should have heard us tell you that. Hi. Hello. But yeah, great team, great attitude. Anyway, special award of the Dusty Butt was whatever race car, their 85 Volvo wagon. They're always there. They're, they theme, they don't go to HMG levels, but they're always, they go to the driver's meeting in costume and awards in costume. They loaned us all the easy ups for the penalty box, which everyone here who's been to Buttonwillow, that is an absolute necessity. Otherwise we would have just roasted. And they also had to swap heads, and they lost their turbo Sunday, but just, good, brings the family out there. Good fun team. The organizer's choice. This is a great story, and I'm taking away from the wrap-up video, but that's going to be like in a month, is Breeden Bros. So it's a young entrepreneur. He started his own company that packages, markets, and sells a breading mix for fried chicken. It's quite good. Had some at the potluck. It's amazing. Little bit of success, decided to fund a race car team. The only problem is he's 15 years old, can't drive. So basically he funded a race car team for his dad and his friends, who proceeded to rack up penalties on Saturday. They drove a little cleaner on Sunday, but, and when he knew he wanted to get into lemons, he had a pizza party at his house, and he reached out to the most prolific lemons racer he could find to get advice on how to do it properly, and that was Neil Losi. So we're probably all going to end up working with that kid one day. Good kid. Nice guy.
Wow. That's amazing. That's fun.
Yes. Judge's choice. Now, this one takes a little work on my part because I'm going to have to try and do this while I'm talking. Judge's choice was Pilot's Lounge. And we knew it was going to be good because they showed up and they bribed me with this. They were all airline pilots, and this is an actual airline drink cart that is labeled from Bangkok Airways. 3 of them are traditional pilots. One of them was retired Air Force, and they had a picture of General Robin Olds on the side of their car. It was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed those folks. We knew they weren't going to listen. Saturday, they came in for their second penalty, and I can see smoke coming off of their front wheels. What kind of brake pads are you running? The absolute best I could get at AutoZone. Yeah, that Chrissy's look right there. That was.
Did you give them a sticker and say, "Please listen to this podcast"? They might tell you something that might be helpful to you. There's even a break episode. There's probably 3 of them. You should just listen to something other. Okay.
It gets worse. Okay. I understand, but hey, get some hawks, get some hawks or something like that. That'll tide you over.
We're quiet stops.
Yeah,
that's all
get a hold. What brake fluid are you running? 4 blank stairs. The brake fluid kind. Okay.
Did they lose brakes on the track? Did somebody go off?
They did not lose brakes on the track, but they were clearly overheating them as they were starting to settle in, which I think led to a couple.
Thank goodness.
And then
how scary would have that? It's scary for people that know how to handle themselves on track, let alone somebody who doesn't. And what?
So apparently they need an A and P on their team because they got pilot set, but they don't have the rest of it set.
Exactly. Speaking of which, saw Sasha this weekend. He's a West Coaster now.
He is, yeah.
And so then later, while they were letting the brakes cool down and swapping to their other set of good AutoZone pads, they sent one of their spouses over with a phone going, "You said something about brakes?" With the notes open on their phone. Okay, yes, you're going to contact Porterfield and you're going to call Wendy and you're going to ask her for ST43s. And I could hear Corey yelling from across the ST44s, but you're going to want to upgrade. And then you're going to want to try and get you some .4, honestly .5, because you got a big heavy Mustang. And they took all of the notes and they had a great attitude and adjusted their driving accordingly, knowing that they had terrible brakes on Sunday and we didn't see them in penalty again. So good on them for that one. Halloween meets gasoline. For anyone who races the West Coast, this should not surprise you. It was Team 420. Their theme this time was Flint-stoned because they are sponsored by a dispensary. Every morning they provided the judges and staff with a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. They were dressed as Fred and Wilma. He even made a replica Flintstones mobile. They drove that one around. They are more or less not allowed in C-Class anymore because they've won it so many times and complained when I said, nope, that's it. You're in B. This is it. And still managed to start Sunday in the top 10 and were all at one point leading B and almost 1B. So they were threatening all week. So, but great team. They do this. And IOE was the return of Spank. He showed up. Oh yeah. I've got pictures of that. So we had Spank come rocking in there. He showed up, I think, Saturday morning. That's not the right one. This is the right one. And he
keep looking at this lovely Lotus.
I know. Keep looking at it. It just calls to me. So there he is. There's Spank. He had an 05 or Hyundai Accent that was smogged and legal, had not been driven in 5 years. He finished 19th, which it's a
Didn't he have? And he had the 70th slowest lap.
70th slowest lap out of 98 cars, 94 that started. Finished 19th. 2 driving it, just 2 folks driving that car, and it just kept chugging along.
Leave them alone. Leave the cars alone sometimes, and it just works so much better.
Which
just leave it alone.
Yes, in both the organizer's choice and the judge's choice, they did not modify or add speed to those cars, which proper, and technically so did the I Got Screwed. They didn't add any speed to that car at all. They just, had a bad ECU and a bunch of wires. So yeah, if you're starting out in this, just, biggest radiator you can find, upgrade your brakes, send it.
Yep.
Just maybe some tires too, depending on how old the car is, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. But just you could go race on all seasons. You'll be fine.
Sure.
Or snows.
Or snows. I'm thinking not dry rot is really what I was getting at.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Stop trying to make things faster, people. You'll have more fun.
Yeah, you really will have more fun.
Okay, it's listener feedback time!
Well, on the YouTubes, Michael K said, yes, on all the torque wrench stuff. Bonus, on the digital adapters, they are particularly useful for your pound needs if you get 0 to 35 pound adapters. How many times have you missed the click at 40 inch pounds? Outside of one of those or beam inch pound torque wrench, how are you going to set up an item that requires measuring drag like a diff or a rear end?
Good and tight. That's how you do it. Kevin from Focus Club said P3 wasn't a bad finish, but P1 would have been great. Great podcast, by the way.
Al, Jason, I appreciate you thinking of me, but as appealing as the thought of pouring all of my spare time and financial resources into a Lotus 2 Prim is, I have to pass. I currently have a strict 1 in, 1 out policy on vehicle purchases. Apparently 5 cars, a street bike, a dirt bike, and 2 scooters was the limit, where even I thought, well, this might be a little much. I am happy, however, to lend a hand if Chris needs one while he's in town picking up his new project.
Yay!
On one of our pick of the BMW bedroom on Facebook's, Bruce said, I bet the blinkers are just for show.
Always.
And Greg, and Greg S says, what's the difference between a porcupine and a BMW bed? Just asking for a friend.
On the Insta, Renee Lamb, owner of EU Tech and BMW Racer, did think it was funny, while 113A said, hate to see the oil leak on that thing. Buddha, our buddy, a.k.a. Queers for Gears on the Instagram, said, I had a Porsche version, but I kept sliding off. And the other thing that we had here, which I am unprepared for, damn it. All right. Also on the Insta, I posted this picture of our my Bolt collection, Team Car 630, which the John Player Special BMW 630. I love this car. It's gorgeous. They are almost always clean. But they managed to rack up, they were the first team to rack up 3 penalties on Saturday and not choose the donate option. Apparently the Pencil Cup of Doom frightened everyone. So I presented they chose the odd nuts, and I presented them with the coffee can of extra bolts that I have and everyone has in their garage, with a bolt measuring device, and said, I need these organized. I expected a half-hearted effort, and what I got were Ziploc bags labeled and organized of all of it. The 3 initial drivers went, call everybody. We're going to need to be on this. And on the tailgate of John Bagel's truck, I had 8 OCD anal retentive types absolutely going nuts on that bolt collection. I'm actually really, really happy. So we got a lot of feedback on that one. And I posted the pic of those very impressive results. I'm still very happy. That was wonderful.
Very impressive. Doug Kirschberg said, nicely done, judges. And Garage Heroes in Training said, if you need more for future penalties, we can take care of the shipping. Not really kidding. and then, on our last episode, go ahead.
No, that was it. Yeah, sorry. I thought you didn't see that one.
And on our last episode, Tyler Stank said, of course, the IMSA scouts show up to a race I'm not at. Wah, wah.
Oh, wah, wah. We always say that we might see them, and then sometimes magically we do. Ta-da.
You know where the IMSA scouts would always go if they knew she would be there? Well, that's a location, not a person. Never mind. Yeah.
Right. Still close enough. And it's just
Do you know who
with,
the IMSA scouts
cookies.
would love? Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
You know whose blinkers aren't for show?
Correct.
Yep.
She's usually pretty good about them. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it builds up a hunger being an IMSA scout. You need those cookies to make sure you're doing a good job.
And maybe that might add some favoritism. So actually might be a good idea.
There you go. Boom.
Not that I'm going to IMSA, but
IMSA, if you're looking for 4 folks to commentate on a lot of your races, we can bring cookies.
I don't know about that, but okay. That's sure. Great. Hi, Mom. They're on a road
Chrissy's
trip,
mom.
so I'm sure they'll be listening because they got time.
Hello.
Hi. It's me, Tommy time!
Woo! And we are ready to talk about our butt and how hungover I am because it was epic.
Yes.
So travel day was not too bad. I got on the road a little late because I had a package coming that I had to sign for at the house, so I had to wait for that to show up because my wife was not in town. But I got there about 5:30. Wasn't too bad. Had to do a bunch of stuff on the El Camino, just fluid wise. Corey wanted to do all the fluid changes at the track because it's so much easier to just get rid of everything. So we did oil, and the oil drain plug was a little furry, which I didn't like. And Corey, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's going to be fine. So then we did the transmission, and fairly new transmission. So that had a ton of clutch material in it, and we maintained it's going to be fine. Everything's fine. And then we did the differential, and it was also very sparkly. Like it's probably just the lighting in here. I'm sure it's good. So we changed all of the fluids, bled the brakes, set the tires and the pressures, and got everything ready for Saturday because we don't do test day. And then we attacked the cooler like ravenous monsters. And they tried
by
to talk
cooler
me into
he means beer cooler, not the cool
yes,
shirt cooler.
not a vehicle cooler, a beverage cooler. And they tried to talk me into having one final one, but I was like, sorry boys, 3:30 is my bedtime. I'm going to bed. So
good idea.
That was it.
It didn't help that you guys were posted up right across from the Backdraft Brigade, which is the LA firefighters who always build an actual bar that is operating all weekend, and this was no exception.
Those guys are amazing.
They really are. Fantastic folks.
How about you, Mental?
So my travel was, despite, when I tried to leave, surprisingly uneventful. I had the everything loaded up the night before. I got home, left a little early from work, ratcheted some things down, and pointed my vehicle west and drove out there. I think I got in about 5 minutes before Matt, and got set up right next to Chris Overzet, who already had everything mapped out. He was my co-judge this weekend. And we saw Aaron Cole Friday morning, but Thursday night, it was just when you haven't seen people for a while, because the last time I think the West Coast crowd was together was Thunderhill back in May. Feels right, yeah, May, yep. March, yeah. So back in the spring. So just a good time getting together, chilling out, everybody having fun.
It was good.
Yep.
And we had 4 cars in our little crew. So it was the El Camino, the Failbird. Jeff Gates brought the newly painted Chevy Love, which is in a beautiful lavender leopard print. And then the newest member is Chet and Sloman with their Ecotech Miata, which is fast. So
as indicated by them threatening for the win all weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fast and they can drive.
They can. If they kept the car non-dusty, they would probably have won. The car has an affinity for farming, so there's that. So it was cool. So they set up right across the way. Matt came in on Thursday, and we had a little arts and crafts project that we wanted to do on his car. The last time he was at the Butt, he lives in LA, and he came over the grapevine, and when he got down to the bottom of the grapevine, he looked in at the car when he stopped for gas, and the hood was no longer on the car. So he had to find a hood in Bakersfield, and luckily there's like 8,000 Gen 3 Camaros and Firebirds laying.
Who'd have thought?
So,
what?
so
you never know what you're going to find in Bakersfield.
Yeah, he got a baller fiberglass big cowl induction hood for like $300 that's been on the car since then. But the problem is the cowl induction bump up is literally, like 6 inches tall. And when you're in that car, you sit down pretty low, so you can't see out of the right side of the car at all.
Oh, that's terrifying.
So we were trying to figure out how we were going to make this better, and after noodling on it for a while, we decided to go ZR1 style, and we chopped off a section of the cowl, basically from the windshield about halfway down the hood, and then took a piece of Lexan from his old windshield and put it on the bottom of the hood. So now you have a window that looks down into the car, and you could see because he painted the entire car in all stupid sorry for party colors. And I sold him on the idea when I said, if we do this, we can put underglow under the hood. And he was like, oh yeah, we're doing that. So we spent Thursday cutting up fiberglass and putting underglow under the hood of the car.
Wow.
And for those watching on YouTube, hopefully you are seeing. No, you are not. I got to do an edit on here. So I have a video of the results of that plastic hood with the underglow on there.
It looks so good.
It really does.
It does. It looks great.
It's so much. It's so much. It's so much.
And
okay.
We're all a little bit punch drunk at this point. So if you have those really, really nerdy folks remember on Knight Rider, Kit had like an evil twin, which was Car. And, they battled each other. But the one that everyone forgot about was Cat, and Cat was like the younger one, and Kit and Car like got all the attention. So, they felt a little neglected, and Cat just kind of got into the party scene, and, goes to clubs. Cat's doing all right these days, it's in recovery, but Cat's still a fun one to be around, Don't judge.
Wow. This isn't a couple lights. This is like lines and lines of lights through this hood. This is so much.
It is an entire underglow kit for a vehicle. So it's got 2 long strips that go underneath the rockers, and then 4 strips that go in each of the wheel wells. That's what it's designed to do. So Matt, because nothing is done half-assed, bought 2 kits.
We whole-ass everything.
Yeah. So we put one in the Failbird, and then it looked great. So we were like, we really don't need to add any more because it's already got underglow under the car. So Chet in the Miata was like, well, can I have it? And Matt's like, absolutely. So Chet starts the underglow project at 1 a.m. and finishes it, and it looks amazing under his car. So
wow.
Up till 3:30, drinking and eating chips. So,
and I believe you were putting some finishing touches on your bribes for Friday, and some of them had some presentation to them.
I did that. I did that after tech. I did that one after tech.
Okay.
I'll talk about that.
So I will save that video.
That's a good intro, man. So Friday we had tech in the El Camino, and we went with a lumberjack theme to kind of lean into them making fun of me as my name as Tim Burr in one of the wrap up videos, and Judge Tim Burr and like the crashing tree and what can it do. So we kind of leaned into it, and I made bribes for the judges. I made Mental a Lazy Susan that I hand carved some stuff in the top of it where it says not crazy, just mental.
These.
Yep. And then the E1R logo, shellacked it, and then underneath is a Solstice rotor and hub that acts as the mechanism for the Lazy Susan. So I like cleaned the whole thing, wire brushed it, painted the hub silver, clear coated the rotor. So it's nice enough to be in the house if she'll let you do that.
So it weighs probably about 30 pounds. It's an impressive piece of hardware. Yeah. And we got the RV unloaded last night. We put everything down there. And when I got home from work today, my wife's like, so is that thing going to stay in the kitchen? Which, of course, I said yes, which means absolutely not. But right now, I think it's too heavy for her to move it. So
right, or it's
going to live.
She tries and it fails. It's going to make a dent in the floor. So probably should not. You should. This requires a team lift. You should ask for help.
Yeah, that is a team lift request for sure. Wow. So I made that for Mental, and then I made for Judge Overzet, who is the proud owner of Buttercup. I made a small scaled version of his 76 Lincoln Continental with a giant horse on the top of it, doing a burnout on a piece of wood. And I like use the carvings, like the scrolls that happen when you use a chisel, as like the tire smoke behind the car, and had a little sign that said, Timber's wood, it can do anything, as like a road sign on the side of the road. So I made that for him.
I saw a picture. You have a picture? It's amazing.
I'm digging it up.
I saw it on Facebook this weekend because Chris posted. It's amazing. It was very fun. You were very good at this.
It was fun to do. So we go through tech, and we've got. I made a whole like playlist of AI songs based on a website that Mental turned me onto from one of the other teams. And some of them were rather risque, and I always like poking there's the Buttercup there. So I always like poking fun with Kim Harmon. She and I like to needle each other with innuendos, and so
that phrase in and of itself is an innuendo.
Exactly.
And so we will have a link to this outstanding robot album in the show notes. It's awesome.
So she's like, you didn't carve me anything. And I was like, oh, I feel like a dick. I totally didn't. I said, I'm going to make you something. Don't you worry. So we go cue to tomorrow. So
Friday.
We go through tech, and we got axes and everything else. And we finish our tech, and then sorry for party. I changed my outfit, right? Costume change. Aaron was giving me shit. He's like, that's like the fourth outfit I've seen you in today. You Diana Ross? And so sorry for party tech is at 4. Jeff Gates was supposed to be there Thursday night, was constantly struggling with getting the love running right. And they ended up like up till 3:00 in the morning. They ended up leaving Friday and got there at like 4:05 for 4:00 tech time. So we all roll through. Failbird, the Love, the new Zebra Miata, and then we had to bust back out the famous trailer with hot tub Flangwin Flamingo on it. So the whole thing went through tech as one big group in a parade, which was
a PSA.
Super fun.
Don't jump off, even though you think you can make it. Even if you think you'll make it,
10 miles an hour is faster than you think it is when you're jumping out of a hot tub.
Yeah. Never jump from a moving vehicle.
If you do, just make sure that there's a golf cart behind you. So when you tuck and roll, fall down, then you can fashionably get into the golf cart and like nothing happened. And then
pop right up. You popped right up. You're like, I'm okay.
I'm pretty sure Chris was driving and he didn't know anything happened.
So I was about 50 feet away from this incident, being all the way up in the truck.
I was fine until I wasn't fine, and then I wasn't fine. But that's the only problem with what. This seems fun until you decide that you're going to get off.
E1R top tip. All right, just be careful when you're jumping from the hot tub being towed through the paddock.
Don't jump. Just don't.
Topper tip, don't jump. So... But because you guys did all that, you had to come back with Kim's thing.
That's correct. So Friday during test day, well, the Failbird was out testing. I was whittling. So I make pancakes and bacon for breakfast every day. I'll do eggs sometimes too, but I just did pancakes. So I made Kim a nice heart-shaped pancake with a piece of bacon, like an arrow, laid on top of it. And when I was trying to figure out what to make her out of wood, I was like, God, I can't believe, like, what a dick move to not make her something. You know she's going to be there. She's there at every single one, right? And I was like, what a dick move. So we had on the theme, right? So I had log cabin syrup, of course, because lumberjack theme. So I whittled like an 8-inch penis and drilled a hole through the whole thing and then mounted it on top of the log cabin syrup. And I brought her some pancakes and I had the whole thing behind my back and said, hey, Kim, I made you some pancakes. And she was like, oh, that's so sweet. It's got a heart on it. Thank you, Bo. I said, do you want some syrup? And she's like, oh, yeah, I love some syrup. So I whipped this thing out and I squeezed the syrup through the bottle and through the penis onto the pancakes. And it doesn't seal very well. So like half of it dripped on her hand. And I looked at her in the eye and I said, I got some on your hand. I'm sorry.
If you are not watching on YouTube, you need to. There's a video that was just played.
We're going to throw this one in the shorts. It's going to be great.
Okay, great. All right, great. Here, hopefully it's right. I'm on the bottom, but it's going right somewhere up there.
So if you've ever seen us in our Sorry for Party stuff, right? We've got like the big black curly wigs. Well, I sacrificed some of the curly wig to hide the attachment point of the penis
syrup
to log cabin. So there was syrup all on the hair. It was really, really amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Super
You're
wow.
Crafty.
So Friday, one of my favorite parts about the whole story is, so Friday, Corey had been talking to a rookie team. They're trying to get into Lemons, and they were going to come to Buttonwillow just to check it out. And they're going to try to do, I think, Thunder Hill race next year. So they come into the garage, and Corey and I are sitting next to each other in the garage, and it's hot. So we got the fan blowing on us, and I've got my 8-inch syrup dispenser and a piece of sandpaper, and I'm sanding this wood penis, and Corey's talking to these people, and we're just like having a conversation. It's these two guys and this girl, and they're asking questions, this and that, and we're like, All right, well, nice to meet you guys. And they walked away. Corey looks at me and he goes, what do you think they're going to say as soon as they get out of earshot of this garage? I was like, welcome to the party, pal.
Or if they're in Lemon, she also could have very well turned around going, you never whittle me, you giant wooden penis.
Totally. So it was very fun. Very fun. How about you, Mental? How was your Friday?
Excellent. So we had a theme, judges theme. So it was back to school. We carried that as much as we could throughout the weekend. And we'll talk about the Pencil Cup of Doom in a bit. And Judge Aaron Cole rocked in there bright and early Saturday. And of course you had Chris Overzet and I was there, and we came in there, and it was, with going back to school, we were trying to work out a whole, theme that sort of turned into like a Revenge of the Nerds. So Aaron, who towers over me by about 3 or 4 inches, and Overzet towers over me about 3 or 4 inches. So Overzet was Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, sleeveless shirt, the crazy hat, and Aaron Cole shows up in an Oxford with a sweater tied around his neck like the quarterback, and I had my nerd outfit on. And we tried to stay in that costume for as long as possible, but it was already 97 degrees. So that lasted about an hour before we all just gave up and stripped down to the shirts. But it was funny, and we kept it going. We kept the back to school theme going. And Chris Overzet had these awesome shirts made up that say Lemons U, Degrees of Disappointment, which I think, could be the name of my autobiography. And what's good and bad about Buttonwillow is you get some new teams in there, but it's the fairly established folks. But everybody was bringing it pretty well. You had the transmittable bridesmaids. They showed up. They've got their bridesmaids dresses again. There was a BMW that had a pink rug on the top of it and a giant phallus on their hood because they were all Ken dolls from the Barbie movie. Then you've seen in the wrap-up videos, the turd-er BMW, that 735, I believe they won Class C at Thunderhill, and they've taken it up a notch, and they all had turd-based nicknames on the back of their T-shirts. So there was Turd Burglar, Turd Herder, and the whole, that was awesome. So it was great. A couple of just already out of the gate good stories. The aforementioned entrepreneur who did the team. 325, which is the MacGruber Miata. Literally the day he was on his way to the track, got a call that a relative had passed away and he needed to be in the Bay Area. Drove to Thunderhill, dropped the car and the supplies off, and immediately hightailed it off to the services, but dropped that off to the rest of their team. So just great stuff. It's always hot and sweaty and dusty at Buttonwillow, but you always enjoy meeting all the teams there. It's always just such a good time. And I got a really cool Lazy Susan in an airline cart for a bribe, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, a giant piece of concrete.
Came Sunday. We'll talk about the giant piece of concrete, which also is pretty friggin' awesome.
All right, we're only on Friday. Keep going.
I know, we're only on Friday.
There's so much racing. Let's go.
We're dragging here. Come on, keep it going, guys.
All right, so
Saturday,
also I had a good friend show up who I had not seen in Meat Space for a few years. 30 years ago, we were in the Air Force together, and this was his first exposure, was walking around the pits Friday night and meeting all this other kind of stuff. Spoiler, by the end of the weekend, Kim had offered him a job, so you might see Jeff coming to a race near you as one of the staff members.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Saturday,
super,
you get up.
Cool guy. So
Saturday we get up.
Saturday.
I give Kim her pancakes, and then the race is supposed to get started at 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Everybody lines up.
We do the drivers meeting. We do everything. Yep. We get everybody teched in there. The staff, one of the things that they have actually done now is they've formalized and standardized the check-in practices so that cars are out on the track 15 minutes ahead of time, circulating, getting warmed up. Everyone is buckled in, safe. Fire pins are pulled. Hood pins are down. Lemons has absolutely stepped that up. It is brilliant. Everyone is ready to go. We have got probably 70 cars lined up from 3 different directions. It is perfectly orchestrated, and no one goes out on track. and it's still a delay, and the cars actually don't make it onto the track until about 10 minutes after. Because when the corner workers went out to their various stations in turn 6, the corner worker goes to get into their flag station, which was already occupied by a rattlesnake. Welcome to Buttonwillow.
Yep.
Okay.
So, nope. Gonna need to delay this race for a little bit.
Yeah.
Come on. You could do better. Come on.
So, yeah.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Oh.
Slight delay in the start. But it was fine. It was all good. So everyone goes out and it's pretty clean. Like I didn't see usually there's a ton of yellow when it first happens, cars blowing up, breaking. It started pretty good, with the exception of the Miata. Sorry for party Miata. Aaron was in the car and he calls in and he's like, man, the car's shaking like mad. Like something's wrong. So he comes in, they pull all 4 tires off of the car. They put the spare set on, quick tire, NASCAR tire change, right? Boom, off they go. So everybody comes around to see what's going on. And I'm standing there with my cup of coffee and I look down and the car goes out and Chet's like picking up the jack and the jack stands and everything else. And I said, hey, Chet. He goes, yeah. I said, who wrote bent on the inside of this rim? And he was like, that would be me.
Oh, no.
So he mounted up 2 bent rims and sent Aaron out. Good luck, Aaron.
Okay.
Not
now
a great
we know
start.
why.
Nope. So they did a high-speed tire change on that one. We actually went uncharacteristically. I think we went almost 90 minutes before our first visitor into Black Flag. Aside from the transponders and stuff like that, and they came in and had a conversation with Chris Overzet. Why are you being stupid? So.
So yeah, the cars were going around doing well. Corey was in the El Camino. I think Dean went out first. I can't remember if it was Dean or Matt.
It was Dean because I got to talk to Dean.
Oh, you got to see Dean after he decided to take a 360 view of the track.
Yes.
In turn 3. So the party bird, Dean went out first, and then Donnie went out, and Donnie's a guy that Matt knows through Spec Corvette Challenge, and Donnie, new to the Lemons world, first race for him. He gets out and locks the tires up, calls in, and is like, "Hey, the ABS isn't working in this car." And Matt's like, "Yeah, there's no ABS in this car." Like, no, there's no way. He goes, "Oh, okay, I'll have to figure that out." So, as everyone knows, you do it once and you do it 5 more times because now it just gets easier and easier. So he goes into Star Mazda and kind of misjudges the braking and somebody kind of turns in on him a little bit. And he gets on the brakes pretty hard, locks him up hard, and has to do an evasive maneuver to not hit the guy. So he comes in on penalty. And I don't know if he did many laps after that.
So he was very apologetic. He's like, "I'm sorry I went 4 off. I'm getting used to the brakes in this car, and Star Mazda is a very tight corner." I'm like, "Yeah. So what about the car you hit?" I did what? Yeah, the car behind you. They've got a dent in their door, and your bumper's hanging half off because you when you slid into them, and. Oh my God. It's like I just told him he accidentally kicked someone's puppy. He was so, oh my God, where are they pitted? And when we cleared the whole thing up, like he followed them in the Failbird over to their pits to apologize again and tell them how sorry he was.
Yeah. Good guy. So,
yeah.
So he gets out of the car. I think pretty much immediately after that, if within not maybe a couple laps, if Matt didn't have a suit on yet. And then Matt goes out and within like 5 laps, he comes back in. He's like, I got a tire going down. So he comes in, and he has the inside shoulder of this tire is just delaminated down to the cords, like just steel showing through.
And this is Saturday,
like
still, right?
This is Saturday.
What kind of tires were you running?
These were AO51s that he had.
Oh, well,
he bought them used.
That's why
he bought. Yeah, he bought them used, and he got the whole set for $400, and they had 6 sessions, 6 like 15-minute sessions on them. But you can see at the top of the photo
endurance racing
for the YouTubes. No, for the YouTubes, you'll see the top where there is a massive flat spot, and that whole inside shoulder just shredded off. So Matt has another set of tires, which are also used. So those go on the car, and now he's got to try to get 2 days out of a used set of tires. Falcons, not Hankooks. So more on that later. So he goes back out, and the Party Bird does great for the rest of the day. El Camino was really good.
Didn't see the El Camino at all. Yeah.
El Camino had 0 black flags. I think it's the 3rd race in a row with no black flags in that car.
Yeah. You've got Corey driving, Neil driving, Dr. Mary driving, and, none of them have egos, and none of them are trying to set lap records. And lo and behold, they're in the top 10.
So
all day.
We ended up finishing 11th, but that's because we had to go real slow. More on that later too.
But no, Saturday that car finished 10th.
Yes, we lined up 3 of our cars in the top 10 on Sunday morning. We had a 2nd place, 9th place in the Failbird, and 10th in the Elko. So it was awesome. It was really amazing.
Really good. The Elko in the top 10.
Is.
That's so great.
It is all amazing.
Yeah.
62nd fastest lap of the weekend.
Wow.
That's great.
So by noon, we're starting to collect a lot of penalties. There's a lot of folks going off. It's Saturday. It's a lot of dust. And one of the innovations Corey came up with last year as a judge that I absolutely love is randomizer. It's the concept is you take your third penalty, the one that, where you're strapping people to the roof of the cars or you're doing things like that. And you attach them to a device. Corey used candy canes, and keeping it with our back to school theme, I used pencils and pens. And I had all 30 or so penalties that we'd come up with taped to them. And I would hold the pencil cup and say, you can choose from the pencil cup of doom, or you can go donate to Ranger Road. With the one exception of the John Player Special car, everyone chose to go donate. Everyone was scared to death of the pencil cup. For good reason, because we had some hideous penalties in there. And I would always have them choose after they agreed to go pay, just to see what they avoided. And I think everyone was very happy. The one I really wanted to see that didn't go was Homecoming Parade, which is where you were going to have to source an engine hoist, a floor jack, and a fuel cart, and decorate them up like homecoming parade floats, and then parade them through the paddock. We did have one team.
So good.
Yeah, one team that came through on Friday. They were having some, they had some tech issues. They had to get through some stuff, and we saw them Saturday morning. And basically, it was a Honda Civic that was effectively an Acura Integra underneath, a very well done swap on a very ugly car. And immediately we're all kind of going, okay, these are going to be some cheaty folks. And we start talking to them. No, cheaty car, clueless. Guys didn't know what they had. I'm trying, what engine is that? Is that the B8? They're like the B what? And maybe they were all brilliant actors, but not that brilliant of actors. But on Saturday, they'd elected to put on the set of tires that came with their car, instead of the ones that they used to roll it around. And they came into penalty, and I looked down, and they're 088 proxies with a tread wear of 60.
Whoops.
Guys, can't run these tires. they say competition only on the side. Yeah. You know what they don't say?
That's the
tread wear.
You're not in a competition. You're on a road race that lasts for 14 hours. So not a competition.
Right. And clearly the stickier tires, not the choice, because that's why you're in here talking to me. So they've gone off course on that one. And I sent them to change their tires and come back and see me. And while they were gone, Kim says, we cannot let that stand. They must be punished. Which, in a situation like that, we would saran wrap them to the roof of the car, but it's 97 degrees and their car was black. So instead, we had them hang out of the window with the bullhorn and apologize to the paddock for their cheaty tires.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, Sunday.
Not good.
We talking about Sunday?
Sunday. We obviously we started an hour earlier, and. See, that was yes. Sunday was a glorious day indeed. And I'm trying to talk really slow while I cue this up because this is, as mentioned by Tim Burr, 3 sorry for party cars out of 4 in the top 10. There's the first one, 338. All right. There is the Junk Rangers. The 101, the Black Flag Enthusiast Club on that one.
C-Class.
Making all that money. Yeah. Here's the 420 car, the Flintstone, your eventual B-Class winners, number 69. And if you're going to have a boring BMW, at least theme it good. And they were Pirates. That car was driven from the Bay Area to the track and then returned. And, of course, down here on the end is the absolute glory of the Party Bird and the El Camino.
That's awesome.
It really was good top 10. No snakes.
We did have a drivers meeting on Sunday.
We did have a drivers meeting on Sunday.
But not for the reasons you would think. Okay. Not an East Coast reason.
I'm embarrassed. I'd completely forgotten about that. But yes. So there we had the standard, lots of cars braking, and we have the Allied Recovery, which is the folks that Lemons actually hires to come through and do this. And it was a rash, which is actually a trend that I've been noticing at all of the races, not just Buttonwillow, of poorly mounted or poor quality tow hooks. And we ended up breaking straps, and then also 2 tow hooks came off while they were being pulled in, including one that flew into the recovery truck, caught the guy in his hand, and shattered his pinky.
Wow.
Yes. So Pagel had to have a meeting and tell everybody, you idiots, stop being stupid when you're being towed and remember how to get towed. And at this race, not racing, not a part of a team, was the mighty, the well-known Erica Snow, a.k.a. the Cast Iron Angel. And she came up with this bit of inspiration, which if you follow her on Erica the Welder, she suddenly found her purpose at that Buttonwillow race and was re-welding everybody's tow hooks.
It's something as a judge, I am going to absolutely look for on every car that comes through tech. I am going to jump up and down on your tow hook. So it better, as Pagel said, you should be able to hang your car from it. So
Chris Overzet is threatening to bring an engine hoist, and 1 out of every 3 cars, he's going to try and lift it by the tow hook, and it better stay.
All right.
So if you are building or it's wintertime or getting ready for the off season, reinforce that tow hook. There's a good reason for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd forgotten about that one. Yeah. So we had a driver's meeting and then we did that. Yeah.
Well, it's what, Saturday night potluck? Potluck go well, everything good.
Potluck was good?
Nope.
Put on by Ranger Road. It was outstanding. And I remember last year when they did the potluck, one of the moms, for the Ranger Road crowd, kind of watched it. She was her first Lemons race and she was watching how it went. It was somebody's, abuela. And she's like, nope, next year we're going to line up the tables here, do this, do this, do this, do this. And damned if she didn't do it exactly the way she said she was going to do it a year ago. And it was a fantastic potluck laid out by everybody. There was Malort. Ugh. But everyone had a great time. And then they all went back to thrashing on their, broken, busted machines.
For anyone that had my chicken drumsticks, and you were on the right side of the table that couldn't see the sign, I apologize, because I used a new rub on the drumsticks. Wow, was it spicy!
It was great.
I got the sign on it.
I got the last one.
Did you get the last one?
Yes.
I put a sign up that said, "These are mofo spicy."
Mofo and spicy.
If you walk
somebody takes it from the other side,
you couldn't see it. So I was like, "Oh well, we'll see how that goes."
A couple people lost their face, but it's fine.
Sorry about that.
Sometime Saturday, the Backdraft Brigade, their Mazda 3 hella blew up. And this is like they did all the prep. They learned their lessons from last year. It was actually going really, really quick. And then right before it popped, it was going even faster than it had ever gone before. And so they might be emailing you, Chris, about what are some other engines we can throw in this well-prepared car. So
I told them to listen to
we did a show about that. That'd be nice.
I know.
Yeah.
I told them. I did.
I did too.
Check that out on there. So we did some of that. And for all of the weather at Buttonwillow that is awful, the heat and the dust and just, you are tasting it. The sunrises and the sunsets are just gorgeous. And then the night sky there is just perfect. And with no clouds all weekend, the night times it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. But I did wake up Sunday morning after inhaling dust and fussing at drivers all day, sounding like the teenager from The Simpsons. Don't drop your keys in the hot flyers. Ow, ow.
So dusty.
It also helps to be in the middle of nowhere. I was just thinking about your night sky. Oh, there's minimal
minimal light pollution
because you're in the middle of freaking nowhere. You got a highway. That's about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, then Sunday morning, what was it, about hour and 15 minutes into the race when we broke the racetrack?
So turn 2, on-ramp as it is known, the slight uphill that to the right. One of the teams, actually, I wrote it down because I want to make sure that they get their recognition on there. Pacemaker
breaking
racing.
The track. Good.
They didn't break the track. Pacemaker racing was going around, checking all the turns out, seeing how their driver was doing. And they noticed that there are chunks of concrete now coming out of the inside of the corner of 2, and not gravel, chunks, which they immediately film, zip over to us. We communicate that to the tower, and they send they go full course yellow and immediately send a truck out there to investigate. And so our choices were, I say the choices were black flag all, bring everyone in, and then try to fix it, which no one had the material, time, or ability to do, or put cones. And in the most Pagel-esque voice I could muster on the PA system, we put cones out there and told anyone if they breathe on the cones, it's a black flag. And you'll immediately be coming to see us, and we're totally not kidding. Tell your drivers that are getting in the car, tell your driver that's in the car now. And to the Lemons community credit, no one touched them.
Oh, good. Surprising. That's surprising.
Yeah. But Pagel had to leave the tower, jump in a recovery truck, and go out there and look at it himself. And if you check out John Pagel's Facebook page, you can see him standing out there just looking forlorn and concerned as race cars go around him.
So one of the things, like learning on the fly, the crew, as they're trying to figure out what to do with this, they're sweeping the chunks of the track away from the area that they're going to cone off but they swept it like out further into the track, and then they sent the cars that direction. So Neil in the El Camino, he comes in and there's like boulders. He goes, it looked like I was driving through Africa, and he runs one of the chunks over because he had nowhere to go, and this is a truck. He runs it over. It de-beads the tire, and he gets a flat, and he has to drive in, and we have to do a tire change. Tire's fine. It just broke the bead of the tire.
Huh.
So
that's terrible for, so many things. Like there's the Civic is so low. Like I'm sure there's cars that are low that can take oil pans out, right? Like this is the kind of stuff that's not racetrack worthy. Who thought that was
so
a
they
good
got
idea?
it out of the way. It took him a second to realize that maybe we should sweep it towards the inside of the track.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
Or anywhere there is dirt, assuming that if you go off and you hit a boulder, then it's your fault anyway, not onto the track racing surface.
Yeah. Yes. It was a 2-second judgment error while they were trying to get it originally
emphasizing speed over proper. And another thing that it escaped me. So Sunday morning, the corner workers show up, and they're standing around having their coffee before they get their orders to go there. And we noticed one of the corner workers, they've got a newish, the Honda Cross Tour, which is their big. It's the Accord jacked up with a hatchback on it. And it's a clean, well-kept car, but somewhere in the last few months, she had lost her inner fender well on her front wheel. And the lines that run from the windshield washer tank up to the windshield washers, the squirters, run through that fender. And not wanting them, they had fallen down and not wanting them to break, she had pulled them out of the fender well and taped them to the out fender of her car. And I saw this as she was driving in, and Chris Overzet and I both look at that, and we realize we have the resources to solve this problem. Extensive, well-maintained resources. So the first car to gather 2 penalties. We allowed the car to go back out on the condition that the rest of the team has to fix that car. GT40 Racing in the Ford Fairmont, they didn't even make a lap at Sonoma. They had literally put it into the wall because it was wet and they had a lot of horsepower, but they're really, really good guys. I explained that situation to them, and they immediately went, oh no, that's not acceptable at all. And they took the car over to their garage, pulled the wheel off, reattached the washer lines on the original points, and then reinforced them a couple of places with some zip ties. Looked up the part number on eBay, found out how much it is, how to order it, left their phone number so when she orders it, they will come and install it for her. Cleaned the windshield where whatever she had hit that had ripped that inner fender well out had done a little bit of damage to the bumper. They went and reattached all that, made sure the bumper and the little underlip was on there, and cleaned the whole thing up, then wrote a heartfelt thank you note and left a picture of themselves on the dashboard of the car, because that's what Lemons does.
Oh, I like it. That's good.
Amazing. That's amazing.
That's great.
All right. So Sunday.
Also, Gates, you have stories about good old Judge Jeff.
So Jeff, in the reason why I dropped an Ecotech and a transmission and all of the running parts from a Solstice, because Gates, the last race, he spent the entire race in his rainbow underoos with a dart hanging out of his mouth, working on his car, revving it. So we heard that all weekend at Thunderhill, and we heard that all weekend this weekend. He figured out what it was. It was actually a weird failure.
And by all weekend, he doesn't mean, during the race hours. He means starting at about 6:30 in the morning and till about 1 a.m.
Everyone goes to bed. Yeah. Yeah. Like he killed the battery like 5 times going through this process.
It's not
and just
usually...
chasing it like changing.
That's how you fix it.
Carbureted motor, right? He's changing jets. He's checking ignition. Like he's doing all the things, and it turned out he's got this janky 3-stack adapter plate that goes from the engine block to the carburetor, and somebody had over torqued it, and there was a crack in it. and he had a vacuum leak.
His lovely lady who does hair and makeup for like a lot of movie people and owns her own salon. She showed up Saturday afternoon, got her gear tech and was going to, and for the first time in a few years. And as they're over there fighting it, she walked over and is listening to it. And she's been with Jeff for quite some time. And she says, "That sounds like a vacuum leak. I think you have a vacuum leak." And immediately they look at her like, "Okay, thanks for your input, uterus, run along now." And as Tim already explained, as it turns out they had a vacuum leak because someone had overtech his janky carburetor stack.
He gave it the old brake clean trick, right? You spray brake clean around it and it starts running good. And he was like, "Huh, looks like we do have a vacuum leak." So it goes out on the track. And it looks glorious. I mean, it looks so good, the truck. So it goes out on track, and it is the slowest thing out there by a large margin. Like, it is so slow. And Jeff goes out, and he goes out first, and he takes it around. And one of the new guys on the team, Dave, he gets a whiteboard, and he writes that on our driver schedule. He writes the Love driver schedule right next to it, and it says, "Jeff, start at 10 o'clock, goes until he needs a cigarette." starts after Jeff, goes until she gets bored. And then Dave goes until he runs out of gas. And like, he did it as a joke. I mean, that was some Nostradamus shit right there. It was exactly how it played out. So Jeff, we get done, and there's a quick trailer story for him also, just to really put the icing on the top of the cake for Jeff. But one thing we skipped over, which I think is an important part, on Saturday. So we get, after the race Saturday, Corey and I are going to fuel the car up, give it the once over, get it ready. Corey looks in the car, and it's an automatic, and the shifter's in third.
Oh.
And Neil had gotten out of the car. Neil was blown out. The plugs on his cool suit didn't work right. So he was in the car for like 2 hours in the heat at the end of the day. He was roasted. So we're like, "Oh, he just forgot to put it in park." No. Car would not shift out of third. So the shifter cable seized, which apparently can happen if it gets too hot. And Corey and I, so we start troubleshooting it, and it's not the shifter, it's the cable. And we're like, "Where the hell are we going to get a cable Saturday night?" And Corey goes, "Wait a minute. Mental brought the Omega here, and it's got the same shifter in it that the Elco does." So we go over to this poor race car on a trailer with a jack and a jack stand and some headlamps, and we steal the shift cable off of the mighty Omega and put it in the El Camino and start the race on Sunday.
That's fantastic.
It is worth noting that Phil Mingus had bought this car. He had agreed to buy it at Thunderhill earlier this year, and here is the Omega. I'm doing a terrible job of this. And he had brought his pizza truck. He had brought his, that is the paint job on the party bot truck, by the way, which is glorious. The Love. So they are having problems with the Bonneville. They believe that their high speed run, where they didn't quite make it to 150, injured the motor. So they had spent the night wrenching on that. His 350 swapped Mazda pickup, Pizza Planet truck, it's overheating. Ultimately, they have to pull it off there. And then they've also got an MR2 that he's associated with that they're not running. And then his car that he just bought and he isn't even racing gets scavenged for parts for somebody else's car. While he's...
Thanks, Phil. Love you, buddy.
Worth it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, so Elko runs runs great all day. Party Bird runs great. They are kind of limping it around the track a little bit because they're on used tires, and they're also on brake pads that are of an unknown origin because the pads that were on the car Saturday that came off, that had nothing left on them, had to be thrown away. And so Matt used something that he found in a box that he wasn't sure what it was.
Oh, it's always a good game.
Yeah. So
mystery
they were
brake pads.
These taste good. These brake pads taste fine. Put these on the car. They'll be fine.
Yep. So they took it a little easy on Saturday, or on Sunday rather. So they could have battled probably for a potential win, if something happened, but they checkmated themselves on that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I mean, B class was tight. You had the 420 car contending, the junk runners, the 986. It was actually leading B most of Sunday and was poised for a win. That was a hard fought race, but the Pirates and the BMW were ready to go and ready to get themselves promoted to Class A.
It was good. So I get in the Elko last, and we pulled the Anton in a little early because we had a double yellow. So full course yellow. We're like, well, let's do the stop real quick. So it was like 10 minutes early or 15 minutes early. Well, that's something we need to think about because I got to 3:00 for a checkers that drop at 3:30, and I am at a quarter of a tank of fuel. And I'm on the radio, and I'm like, HQ, this is car 3. I have a fuel problem. And I did that for 15 minutes until I finally started like getting aggravated. And I was like, if somebody had a damn radio, I would know what to do right now. I get all angry. And we're on the same channel, so he's laughing at me. And so we're going around, and I'm going slower and slower and slower because I was like, I just got to limp this thing to the checkers. I don't want to come in on the hook. So I get it is 3 minutes before the checkers drop, and I cross the start finish line, and it starts burping, and that's scary because I am not going fast. Like this is not all the fuel is on one side of the tank burp. He's
on the straightaway on a flat racetrack.
Going like a quarter throttle, right? So I go from running like 228s to a 350 pace on the final lap to get across, and I was like, I'm watching the clock and I'm on the radio like, I just want to confirm time. Nobody's answering. And so I come around, I go through Star Mazda, and I literally am pointing everybody by for the entire last lap. I just go. And I'm going like 50, 60 miles an hour, right? Tops. And I come around Star Mazda, and it's 3:30 on the clock, and I'm like, I gotta hit the start finish at 3:31 just to be safe. So I come around Sunset, and you can see the flag stand, and there is no checkered flag. And I was like, I will park this damn thing before that if I have to.
We've been there.
Yeah,
throw the checker. Why haven't you throw the checker?
Yes.
And everybody's looking at the clocks, and they're all different, but they're all over the time. Yes.
So I get as I get closer, I see he's leaning out of the box, and he's got the flag furled in his hand. And Matt, who's also low on fuel, he goes by, and then Chet in the Miata is right behind him, and then I'm right behind him in the El Camino. So Matt goes by, doesn't get checkers. They drop the flag on Chet, and I go right behind him, and I get halfway around the track and run out of gas on the victory lap. Yep.
Wow.
So Dave is in the Chevy Love, and he pushes me.
Which has been running like crap all weekend. It's the slowest car on the track.
It's pushing.
And it's a tiny little truck with an Isuzu 1.6 carbureted.
Pushing a 4,100 pound truck around. So
you did it! Oh, that's
great.
Yay! So now you have a bunch of cars out of gas. And broken.
Yep.
Wow.
And broken.
Okay.
So that was the race.
It sounds like a crazy race. Sounds like fun.
It was fun. We had a lot of wins. We had a lot of wins. It was a really good race. We needed one. We have been breaking many things for many races, so we needed a win. So that was good.
Good.
And it's always nice to see kind of a return to lemons when people are actually thrashing about a little bit, working on their cars, drilling into very expensive engine heads with a handheld drill, or driving 2 hours to swap engines. It makes you feel good, especially when it's not you.
Sure.
I mean, you're rooting for them. You want them to win. I want you to win, brother. I'm just glad it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll end the day with the Gates, just his whipped cream on top of his story. So he's got we get everybody gets packed up and says their goodbyes, and off they go. And I see Jeff on the road going down 5, and I pass him in a beep, and boop boop boop, and off I go. And I find out that they stopped at a little like Mexican joint that Dave knew about for food. And when they did, they realized that the plug for the trailer either came out or never got plugged in and was bouncing around on the ground.
Ooh.
And destroyed. So they were in the parking lot for like an hour and a half, just with bubble gum and toothpicks trying to get the wires back together. And of course, like the wire colors weren't right, so they had to like troubleshoot it and figure out what went to what. So they're doing that in the dark and in a parking lot with a taco truck. So they got home about 1 o'clock in the morning. So that was a fitting end to the love for their weekend.
Like it never ends. It
never ends. No.
Oh gosh.
Constant material.
Well.
All right.
Great job,
if you were listening and you were at the butt and we missed your story, we'd love to hear about it. And so would all of our listeners. So put it in the doodly-doo in the comments, or however you're listening to this, throw something in one of their comments. I know Spotify has a comment section, just no one uses it. So,
okay.
This occurred to me Saturday night. It is horribly, horribly hot. We've been sweating all day. We're like, everyone's question to everyone wearing an orange shirt was, how much water have you had today? Everyone that came into the penalty box, how long have you been in the car? How much water have you had today? It was another one of those just mean heat kind of days. And I have not been drinking for 2 months. I also, even more painfully than giving up alcohol, I gave up Red Bull. So I'm down to like a cup of coffee a day. And by 9:15 Saturday night, I am done. I struggle to be social till 10 o'clock, and then I just sleep the sleep of the dead till the next day. And it occurs to me, so all things being equal, weather, temperature, hot, humid, dry, whatever it is on there, everyone on the screen, you've judged multiple times in multiple environments, you've raced. What's harder, racing or judging?
Oh, it totally depends. Buttonwillow, I'm sure
It
the
totally
judging is terrible, but racing is also terrible there too. I don't know. Yeah, I've also had some very nice casual judging times where I would butcher, like Colorado in the rain for a whole weekend. I was sitting under the tent. I was nice and dry. That was lovely compared to what the people in the car were going through. So I think it's very situationally dependent.
I'm going to say the same. I mean, yeah, especially with the people that were swimming in HPR, and we were, we're like, oh, I have to go to the potty trailer and I have to run through the rain a little bit, and like that's as much rain as we had, so or as much as we needed to experience.
But in their defense, their trailer was nicer than your hotel room.
Probably,
sure.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's probably racing. Would you say, what was the question? Is it harder? Which is harder?
Yeah, just physically harder.
Racing.
I said, yeah. Which
Depends
one
on
wears you out the most? Yeah.
Depends on what you're racing.
If you do an hour and a half for the whole day in the car, I would say judging. If you do more than 2 hours in the car, I would say racing, especially if it's hot.
I like your answer.
I did 4 hours on Saturday, and I was just like a crispy potato chip at the end of the day.
What's your answer?
Well, there you go. I'm going to go with it's more physically exhausting judging because it's more of a marathon than a sprint. So kind of piggybacking on, and at NCM, I do think that I probably was just this close to heat stroke because I got out, had palpitations, and it was humid and hot and miserable. And I just sat there and poured water on myself for about 20 minutes and then sat in air conditioning to recover. But yeah, I had not been that zonked out at a racetrack in a very long time at the end of the evening as I was on Saturday at Buttonwillow. Just even trying to stay hydrated, trying to be on there, not doing that much exhausting activity, but just being in the sun for that long and responding to a lot of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I think the weather was definitely challenging at the Butt this year.
Yeah.
Well, you made it. You lived to tell. Woo!
And we will go back again next year. All right. Wait,
what are we talking about next week?
Any idea what we're doing next week?
No.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, though.
This has been easy for a while because we got a race to talk about. No, we got a race to talk about. No, we got a race to talk about. No, we got a race to talk about.
We'll get back to that. We've got
maybe next week we'll take a look at the Lotus that we are buying this weekend and see what I actually ended up with. So
that is a great one. Perfect time to bust out the project car investigation team.
Sure.
Cool.
Go back to our PCI episode.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later.
All right, everybody. Be safe. Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. You can go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text pictures of your junk to me at 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook under Everyone Racers, and even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless, like us, there is no shiny side, then just keep those wheels down.